Okay, hi, I'm Carolyn Elliott.
And this is Laila Bernard.
And you are listening to the Sleepover podcast. Hey.
Hey, coming to you live from the tea shop today. We got rape in our hand and kava in our bellies, as usual.
The best. So today, Laila and I are super freaking excited because Sleepover Mystery School, which is part of the plethora of sleepover-themed things that we have now. The biggest one, in many regards.
You might call it the anchor.
The anchor has almost 70 applications now.
Yeah.
And this is really blowing my mind because I'm pretty sure that when I did Game of Sovereigns, the existential kink coach training program that Laila went through and that our friend Lucy went through.
That I was so fucking hot for.
I think we had like 25 or maybe 30 applications tops, definitely not more than that. And that was enough to fill Sovereigns. And I'm sensing that this is gonna sell out.
Someday, Carolyn, I only hope that we have enough amazing acolytes to help us hold larger and larger, more insane festival-style parties so that we can have like 1,000 people with amazing stages and performances and crazy group rituals. But for now, we definitely want to make sure that the number of people that we take through is the number of people that we can hold. And so, like, if you want to be held in a freaky, weird, super fun, adolescent giggles, transcendent giggle experience, do get your application in.
So you go to carolyngraceelliott.com/SOMS. That stands for Sleepover Mystery School. So that's carolyngraceelliott.com/SOMS. And if you are hearing this in October 2021, you want to get on that like right now because it's filling up.
It's filling up. There's some amazing applicants. I'm reading the applications. So if you want me to look at your juicy answers, please try and seduce me because I am the one. Me and Lucy are reading them over. And many of these applications have been super, super juicy. Like, oh my God, my favorite one was...
I want to hear about the favorite one.
Well, one of my favorite quotes was... promising 0 results. That's fucking brilliant. I am so tired of being sold. Life is short. Sex, drugs, and God. And some rock and roll doesn't hurt. And I was like, this person is feeling the vibe. That is what we're talking about. And oh man, another favorite application of mine was somebody being like, this is a huge yes for me. I am so tired of being in healing and like seeking circles, and I am ready to be in circles with people who have sought and found.
Yay.
Yeah.
Laila and I were talking about it, and we think it's going to be like a good mix of people who are like have been doing magic for 30 years, who are already like super getting it and super awake and just want to come like have a deep crazy party. And then other people who are like, what's going on? I don't know why I'm drawn to this, but I am.
Right. So like truly both sides of the coin are so welcome. Like if you are a person who is feeling very lucid and you find yourself being bored in your normal daily experience with the non-lucidity of others, please apply. We would love to have you. The more lucidity we can have at the Sleepover Mystery School, the better it will be. And also if you are a person who's like, God, I've just always really wanted to be lucid, I'm not sure that I am, do please come, because it will get us off like nothing else to expose you to the field of lucidity, and like won't we all be doing the best possible thing for each other. Ugh.
Yeah. And wow, the application is kind of long and involved. Like I'm seeing that it's on average taking people over an hour to fill it out, so it is an investment. And I just want to say, like, I understand there's about 630 people who have started the application but not yet finished it. So if you happen to be amongst those or you haven't yet started, I just want to say I understand it's an investment of time, but it's deep contemplative questions that I feel like are worth answering anyways, about like what you really want out of life, and like what games do you play to keep people from truly feeling you and knowing you. So answering those questions is a win that's going to fertilize your creativity one way or another.
For sure.
Also, I think some folks are maybe scared about the potential of rejection. And I really understand that too. And also it's like, yeah, rejection sucks. Ugh. And also not even giving yourself the chance to do something because you're afraid of rejection and then having to regret that.
Even more suck. Like, even more suck. Like, getting slapped in the face is more contact with the universe than never venturing. You know? I mean, ugh. I will say, as a reader of the applications, that if you want to have a successful application, I like being seduced. Like, tell me your juiciness. Like, get me aroused by who you are. Like, show me that you know at least a little bit how to, like, get off on yourself and, like, feel it. You know? I really... I can tell the difference between a person who's like filling out the answers to get to the end of the form and hit submit, and people who are like, oh my God, let me answer this question.
Yeah, plus, if we like your application, then you get to have a conversation with Lucy or Laila, two of my favorite people on the planet. So that's a major gift in itself.
Indeed, it is a gift. Man, I also want to say that, like, reading these applications just has me so feeling, like, humbled in the best way, because there are so many people applying who have been like, I initiated myself as a witch when I was 5 years old, and I have been closetedly practicing magic since I was a teenager, and, like, this has been what my entire life is about, and, you know, I just know that, like, getting to the bottom of this is really what I'm here to do, and it inspires me so much to just feel the impendingness of getting to hang out with a whole group of people who are like, this is what it's about. Like, the rest is window dressing, the rest is play, the rest is play acting for really remembering. I just am so turned on to meet all these like freaky weirdos who have been holding it down.
I know. I mean, I know that, like, we're going to do amazing rituals and games and far out weird shit. And I also feel like, and amazing dance parties too. But I feel like one of the deepest things that people are going to get out of this, that I got out of teaching Game of Sovereigns, and that I got out of doing the far out orgasmic meditation stuff that I paid a whole bunch of money for back in the day, that was worth every single penny.
Back when you were a broke dumpster panda.
I was like literally homeless and like paying like $2,000. No, I think it was like with travel, it was like $3,500 a month to like go to these. They were monthly. Anyways.
Basically, we wanted to say that we validate you remaining in homelessness in order to chase your dreams, because
it all turns
out in the end.
And also what I'm saying is, like, the people that I met there, the connections that I made dramatically changed the course of my life.
Right.
And like, there's a way in which, you know, you're in your hometown or your city or your isolated rural scene, wherever you are, and you know magical people and you have fun with them and they're your friends, or maybe you have some feuds, all hot stuff. But there is something really mind-blowing about getting together with magical people from all over the place. And I know, I mean, what with the pandemic restrictions, we may have less international folks this time, sadly, but who knows. But there's something, like, it's like a renaissance. It's like a festival of like encountering these souls that so anyways, I'm saying, like, apart from even what we're gonna do, which will be fucking awesome, people are just gonna meet each other and like find their best friends or their lovers or their, you know, their just even like just somebody who says like one little thing to them that just like
totally.
And I'm so pumped about that.
I mean, that has been, to me, the most beautiful thing about waking up is realizing that like we are actually all here hanging out with our best friends.
I know.
Like deeply underneath all of our little sad stories that keep us isolated from each other and like keep us feeling scared, when we really wake up to the nonsense of those lies, we're just like in the company of our best friends. And sometimes our best friends are going through a hard time or whatever, but like we just know who we're really looking at, and like that we've been doing this together for a long time, and that essentially we trust each other to be like doing the right thing for ourselves at the right time. And it's just like, I mean, friendship, really beautiful, open-hearted friendship seems to be one of the consequences of awakening.
Yeah, I like to think of it as like, you know, the jewel net of Indra, right? Like we're all these amazing jewels, these fractal holographs of the entire universe. And when you come to an event like Sleepover Mystery School, you are shaking up that jewel net in a dramatic fashion and drawing those other jewels that are like most resonant with you closer to you. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like through the orgasmic meditation stuff that I met Leslie, why am I blanking on Leslie's last name? Leslie Rogers, who inspired me to come up with existential kink.
I mean, he's the one that called you on being a sadist.
Yes.
Before that, you were not even aware. You were just completely repressing your utterly sadistic nature.
I know. Leslie knows what a sick fuck I am, and he still loves me. And it's like, I never would have met him and never would have had this whole like giant inspiration that's become like the center of my life if I hadn't taken a risk and gone to a weird ass it was called magic school. I mean, like, that was one of the things that Nicole did back in the day, was magic school. That has been a lasting inspiration for me. And also just like the orgasmic meditation trainings, just like so many people that I'm connected to, like Perry Chase, who is like an uber genius who continues to teach me so much about like holding space. And I met Perry there. I met my dear friend Dave Burns was also in that scene, and Dave Burns changed my life. And I met you by doing the, you know, the retreats and the sovereigns thing. Anyways, I'm saying, people, what is like the most precious thing in life, if not friendships and relationships with people who really understand you and are really, really into the same weird shit that you are.
Well,
that's like,
you know, and I've been doing a lot of contemplation on this because, you know, Robert Rudd is our boyfriend and we're contemplating everything that he says. Mm-hmm. And one of the gene keys that he talks about that's in my hologenetic profile is
Richard.
Richard. Did I say
Dickie.
Robert?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Richard. Richard, I'm so sorry. That's embarrassing. I don't even know your name. We've been dating
Let's
for so long.
call him Richie.
Richie. Okay, so like Richie was illuminating the 59th gene key, which is all about new aeonic relationships that are not generated by like karmic entanglement, but are instead generated from commonly shared work and like being devoted to the same objective. And like, this is going to be an amazing opportunity for people to connect with each other who really just know that like the scrying of the mysteries and like the quiet, pregnant possession of the knowledge of the mysteries is the deepest satisfaction.
And it's going to start when Jupiter is in Pisces. So like this amazing, like expansive, gooey heart,
Poetic,
energy.
like abundant poetry. And like, oh my God, Jupiter in Pisces is such a hot vibe.
Party.
Like, party vibe. Man, one of the things that I'm so excited about is how much people who are applying to this are turned on by the fact that we are not selling them the idea that they're going to make more money or selling them on whatever. Like, because one of the things that is at the depth of waking up is this like kind of futility. Like, we all feel the futility of everything that we're doing, right? Like, when we're asleep, we're kind of like hounded by the futility. And when we wake up, we remember that like that futility is a distortion of the truth that we really don't need to accomplish anything. We are really just here to tell the beautiful story of ourselves however we want to, however it is that it occurs to us, not because we're going to win a prize for the best literature ever, not because, we're going to be a New York Times bestseller, but just because it feels great to tell our own little story. And like, there's no other purpose. There is nothing to be done. Perfection is attained. We just have to be it. There's just nothing to do except hang out with your friends. We've reached the end. We're approaching the end of time where there's nothing left to do. There's no deadlines to meet.
The singularity.
There's no projects that need finishing. There's just us hanging out with our friends, doing what we love. I'm remembering that Rick and Morty episode that we watched about where they go to all these planets where the suns around the planets are about to go supernova. And like on every one of those planets, they're just having this like huge bacchanalian festival of like, it's the end of time. Hell yeah. And I truly feel like that given the fact that we are like so inspired by Babylon and like here we are in like the dawning of the newest aeon, like there's some of that vibe, like what is there to do but enjoy one another? What is honestly, what is there to do anymore? We have come to such great heights, One of the things that I love to contemplate is that I read this amazing book, Plant Intelligence in the Imaginal Realm, and it talked about how...
Oh, is that Stephen Harold Buhner?
Stephen Harold Buhner.
Oh, Crystal's going to come soon. Crystal's fucking obsessed with him. She's best friends with his wife or something.
Well, it makes sense because he is an utter genius. And in Plant Intelligence in the Imaginal Realm, he talks about how the evolutionary function of humans is to fertilize space with DNA. And here we are shooting off our loads on Elon Musk and fucking Jeff Bezos's, space dicks, sending our DNA into the world. And it's I just was feeling this morning contemplating and I was like, maybe that's happening because we know all there is to know about this human story. And it's the story, we know what this suffering world is. We know what this world is. And it's time for new stories to be told in new worlds. And here we are at the rap party.
Yeah. So speaking about the party, I love how you pointed out to me on the Pillow Talk call that we did that one of my greatest life's callings is to throw epic parties. And that's really, really true. And part of what I love about really epic parties is that they give room for people to step into the mythic identities and the mythic storylines that we've been talking about.
Yes.
When people can show up in their, full freak flag flying, whoa.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's very hot. Mm-hmm. And truly what is there to do but show up at the party of life in your favorite costume and work it. Work it on the dance floor.
I don't dance, I work.
I don't play, I slay. I don't walk, I strut. And then you sashay. That's a great song called Head, Hair, Hips, Heels.
Yeah. It's a big hit. Yeah, I love that
good.
song. It's my new favorite jam.
It's a Mercury hit for sure.
Yeah. So I think, something else that's really touching to me about the fact that we're doing a mystery school is I feel like we are reviving mystery culture.
Yes.
And this is something that has been heavy on my heart for a long time, which is just that we live in this society that has become this really kind of slovenly non-culture, where everybody's just schlubbing around.
For sure. And the non-cultureness comes from the fact that we object utterly to the concealed and are obsessed with penetrating and revealing anything that is mysterious to us. We're always asking why, how, and it's just offensive. Mm-hmm. It's offensive to the mystery and it degrades the mystery, and culture cannot grow except around a sacred mystery that we all agree to contemplate and never reveal.
This reminds me of how you and I were talking with my husband David one night about this deep story with the Goth tribes in Europe, and how the Goths had this tradition where when there was a new king, they gave him a key.
Well, first of all, they didn't choose the king by like heredity. They chose the next king by actual sovereignty and leadership ability. And so the king was like recognized for their actual kingly qualities, not just their bloodline, which I think is, first of all, fucking cool.
Yeah, that's a big deal in itself, because like the whole hereditary thing that just like caters into the usually the dominance of the priests and the dogmatic religion and everything. Like you gotta kill your kings regularly to keep fresh, you know.
Right.
The king's gotta keep switching up. But so they would give their king a key to a locked room and entrust him as the guardian of it, and they would be like, all right, this is the door that we never ever open, because when we open it, it's like the end, you know.
I'm not even sure they know why. It's just like, this is the
We
thing.
just
You
don't do
climb
it.
to the top of the tower, and at the top of the tower, there is a room with a locked gate on it. And here's the key, and here's a lock. And as the new king, you are required to go climb up into the tower and put another lock on the door. And the legend goes that one king climbed into the tower with his lock, with his key, looked at all the locks on the door, and said to himself, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open this door.
And then he saw that the room was painted with all of these murals of the Moors invading Spain. I guess the story is set in Spain. The Moors invading and the end of the Gothic
Well, apparently,
reign.
the way that David told it was that the king went into this chamber, saw all these mythic murals, and opened up a chest that was in the middle,
chest.
and pulled out a scroll that said, "You have penetrated the mystery. You have ended the reign of the Goths. This kingdom will now fade from the earth, because you have dared to reveal the most inner sacred truth. You have not upheld the protection of the mystery." And when David told me that story, I was like, holy shit, that was a powerful magical working, because what happened after that, the whole scientific materialist, rapey mind that just wants nothing more than to dissect and open up and like shine like the light of reason
and quantify
Yeah.
and measure and like, ugh.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like separate everything from its connection to the wholeness. And we've been living in that demystified world where we really think that only the things that we can physically verify are real.
Yeah, we live in a world of veritas rather than
Aletheia.
Aletheia. And I think this is worth talking about for a minute. So my boy Heidegger talked a lot about how there's two different kinds of truth, right? So there's a veritas, which is this Roman...
Verifiable, you know, reusable, reproducible truth.
Yeah, so veritas, this Roman idea of truth, where it's like something that you can match up with something else. So if I say it's 2 p.m. and we look at the clock and it's 2 p.m., then we have verified it. We have basically matched two things in the material world. And the Greeks, especially the pre-Socratic philosophers, had a very different understanding of truth, which was that truth is aletheia, aletheia. Truth is the truth as unconcealment, truth as the magnificent unveiling.
Revelation.
That's happening in every moment, the revelation, the ongoing revelation. And that there's, you know, that art gives us access to aletheia, that, you know, great ritual gives us access to aletheia.
Great
that
sex
our
gives us
own-
access to aletheia.
Yeah, our own deep philosophical contemplations can open up aletheia. But that aletheia is not veritas. It's not about verifying that this thing and this thing match up. But that is the impoverished notion of truth that we've all been handed, as if something is not true if it's not
Externally verifiable. And oh man, that just makes me laugh, because, you know, I was sharing with our beloved David my amazing awakening pillar of fire experience. And he sort of dismissively and devilishly laughed at me and was like, that sounds like unverified personal gnosis.
Yeah, that's what they call it on like the Reddit forums.
And and you know, I laughed at that because I was like, I think that all gnosis is unverified personal gnosis. And just to bring it back to Sleepover Mystery School, like, I'm really excited to hang out with a bunch of people who have had unverified personal gnosis experiences. And so we can all just be like, yeah, right. That happened.
Yeah, truth
that was real.
Like Kierkegaard said, truth is subjectivity. And the paradox is that, like, or the kicker is you can't have it verified. Like, you just can't. Sorry. Right. Sorry, not sorry. But something interesting that I think about when I know that, like, David can be a jag about such things, but I love him so much. And something that David, a pole that he has held in this polarity of, like, you know, free for all subjectivity versus something else, is really, he has taught me the value of tradition. It's something that he really feels deeply in his soul. And when I first got together with David, I was all just about results magic. Like, I was like, get me that money, baby. Let's, you know, call up Jupiter and make it rain. That was all I wanted to do. And he was like, you know, there's a whole deep tradition around, so that's low magic. And there's something called high magic, which is all about invoking communion with the holy guardian angel, the larger self. And I was like, well, okay, I mean, I guess I could get into that. I don't see how it's going to make me money, but all right. And I started getting into, you know, he's very, very into, like, the runes and, like, Norse stuff. And I wasn't, like, so much feeling that flavor. And he was like, well, you know, what about the Golden Dawn? You know, you like tarot cards, you like astrology, like, how about the Golden Dawn? So I started getting into the Golden Dawn, which eventually got me into Thelema. And it's so fun because, what are those traditions made of except people's unverifiable personal gnosis? But over time, they accrue and they create these, you know, egregores and these astral contacts, inner plane contacts. So, like, magicians over the ages, like, working with similar rituals and similar symbols, you can, once you start working with them, you start getting astral invitations in your dreams to directly connect with these teachers.
Right. And, I mean, like, all of these practices are, like, well-grooved ruts in the collective unconscious. And when you start tapping your external experience into those unconsciously loaded symbols, you start falling into the same channels that other seekers and attainers have also found. And it's much easier to walk a path that others have walked before because you can see the fucking path. Yeah,
and it's still quite personal, and it's still and the synchronicities start flying thick and fast, right? Like, I love, like, Laila has this amazing pentagram tattoo on her hand, which is like pure Pythagorean mystery school. And she was telling me after she got the pentagram tattoo, she started getting all of these, like, deep math downloads. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, I feel like I got myself the tattoo because I already knew myself as a Pythagorean, but truly, I definitely felt like, oh no, more clicking, more understanding, like, more reality and just, like, ownership, you know?
Laila, I feel like you could have a best-selling, like, program or course called, like, Mathemagical.
Okay, my favorite movie as a child, I have to tell, this is a confession, everyone. The movie that actually got me into magic from the weird place that I started with my engineer Buddhist dad was Donald Duck in Mathemagicland, created by the great wizard Walt Disney, which is a wonderful piece of propaganda about how we all need to learn more math and science in order to beat the Russians. But they talked all about the Pythagoreans and, like, this magic within the universe that, like, is this ordered, amazing, beautiful thing. And I just trip out on it all the time. I guess my, like, inner nerd girl conditioning is like, well, if you're only going to be talking about math and science, like, people are going to get bored. But math and science are truly mathemagical. And I just love thinking about how high these old scientists must have been on the Holy Spirit in order to divine all this order that we now, like, base our entire fucking civilization on.
Precisely. So part of what I'm excited about with Sleepover Mystery School is, like, Yeah, it's hip. Yeah, it's a great party. Yeah, it's hella fun. Yeah, bring your unverifiable personal gnosis and have plenty of it because we're about that. And also, we are connected to this deep tradition and getting instructions from our inner plane contacts about how to make it go down. And I'm really excited for not just what I might be able or we might be able to transmit to folks, but what they're going to start receiving in their dreams as they come into this like vortex current of it. Because, I mean, not trying to throw shade on like OTO groups and everything. I know that they do awesome rituals and Gnostic masses and stuff too. But I know this is going to be like extra.
This is going to be like Gnostic Mass in Vegas. That's what I'm imagining.
I'm really seeing that it's like Crowley's biggest wet dream is coming true, like through us. Like I can just like really feel like Aleister Crowley just like astrally coming like all over this mystery school. And, you know, now that he's in the afterlife, he sees the errors of his misogynistic ways and is just like, oh my God, hot babes are doing the thing that I wanted to do, but they're doing it. Oh, yes. Yes.
That's what I always wanted. It's secretly what I always wanted.
Oh, Nuit. Thank you.
I mean, and like what a sexy thing for him to have done in his like masculine incarnation is to like create this container for the weird babe that is Carolyn to be like, I'm just gonna do it now. We're just gonna do it. It's already here. We'll just pick it up. We'll just use it. It's gonna be great.
Indeed.
I'm having like a lot of visions of like all of us at the mystery school, like getting in like little groups of like 4 and 5 and like laying on our tummies in our jammies with like popcorn and snacks and our pillows and like playing all kinds of fun truth or dare, spin the bottle type games and just like getting super weird with each other in the like open space of knowing that like we all came here to get super weird, you know, like the implied consent of weirdness.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Absolutely. And just like I'm excited also for people to go into like the deep whirlwind of synchronicity that happens when really powerful, intense, magical people get together, like we experienced, I feel so vividly around the Babylon weekend that we did. And, and other
when
rituals.
I came to, there was every time I came to a Sovereign's retreat weekend, I was like tripping my face off for like the 3 days before, and then at the thing I was like, why is literally everything that I look at speaking deep truth to me? And with my hand on the Holy Bible, like I was entirely sober every time that happened to me. It was just the pure psychedelic field of magic that was just making things more clear. Ugh. I'm so excited. I mean, I can feel it already. I can feel it already in my body that like we're getting so close. Like,
oh yeah, it has definitely begun. I mean, I can feel it. Like even it's funny. Like my brain does these little things. Like, oh, what if it doesn't? I don't know. What's gonna happen? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? And it's like I can tell that like my brain is like just having its little freakouts in the like the wake of like basically it's like precognitions of like the like massive hurricane of deliciousness that is on the horizon.
Totally, yes. Oh my God. Do we have any pictures on the website of the amazing adult Alice in Wonderland Airbnb that we're going to stay in?
Oh, no, we don't. But we should. Well, we're probably going to have to do 2 Airbnbs because we're probably going to get 50 people. So we do have one amazing Alice in Wonderland Airbnb that can fit like 28 people. And I don't want to make people feel left out. I don't know if the other Airbnb is going to be as amazingly decorated, but that is part of it. And we're also having our
rituals.
Our rituals are going to be at this astounding speakeasy in Miami.
It's so hot. It is like a cabaret, magical backroom scene. We are gonna have fun. Oh my god. And like Miami, come on. When we were down in Miami for the last Sovereigns retreat, one of the best experiences of my life was like going to the beach after that under a full moon and just like drinking some sparkling soda and like eating potato chips and being like, well, we did it. We freaking did it.
It's true. There's something about Miami that just sparks celebration. It's a celebratory place.
It's a trashy magic place.
So trashy.
It's a trashy
so
magic place.
magic.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
Art Deco, so neon, so like, oh my God, I love you, Miami.
I know. Miami is... It's worth it. We are so excited. This is going to be so great. I mean, I'm just so like deeply nourished by all of the people who have been responding to like this podcast and to this offering, because truly we need each other. Like, like Carolyn was saying, this Indra's net of glowing jewels really, you know, can be very powerful when they're all linked up.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like we are sort of like riding the wave of the consciousness mutation that's coming upon humanity. And yeah, just getting all together is part of like making that renaissance happen. It's like the fulfillment of the prophecies, you know?
It's so hot, Carolyn. I mean, what a time to be alive. Truly the best.
Well, folks, I think maybe that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you are feeling the magnet of the mysteries, if you're feeling called to come to this deep festival of magic and delight, you can apply. You can find more information, and you can apply at carolyngraceelliott.com/SOMS. That's SOMS for Sleepover Mystery School. All right.
We'll see you there.
See you there. Bye-bye.